What is up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel. We are back again with another zombies Q&A where we take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs and whatever you guys want, and we answer them. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, drop a like rating. You guys know what to do. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies content on the channel. Click that notification icon, and of course, when you're ready, let's get right into it. Here we go. So the first question of the day from CP94. Your name somehow seems familiar. I don't know if I've answered one of your questions before, but you said, hey BOA, I was wondering how come when you're down, the zombies leave you alone? Well, good question. I mean, in terms of game design, I guess it wouldn't be too good if you got downed and then weren't able to play again because you were dead. Story-wise, we're not really sure. Maybe you could say it could have something to do with Dr. Monty. As I've said many times before, and I'm sure you guys know, whenever our characters die in the zombie storyline, they are sent back to the beginning of that cycle by Dr. Monty until we complete the Easter egg correctly. So maybe this has something to do with him. Honestly though, I don't really think there's ever been a meaning behind it. And as you were saying, why don't the zombies still come after us when we're downed? Well, I guess their objective is to down us. So once they've done that, they move on to the next person. I think you're saying why don't they finish us? I don't know, it's kind of strange. We've always thought that zombies eat people as well. But as we know on COD, they hit you and that's their way of attacking you. So you know what? I really don't know. It's not something I've ever thought about. But moving on, the next question from Donut Bomb says, BOA, why are the Templar zombies taking over the generators in Origins? Love your videos, keep up the good work. So thank you for that, dude. And also, that's a really awesome name. So according to the Canorium, on July the 1st of 1917, following the installation of the Element 115 powered generators, reports surfaced regarding ancient figures that emerged from the dig site, corresponding with the mysterious deaths of a number of Group 935 soldiers. The ancient figures are undead knights from the Great War. So these undead knights or Templar zombies, as we know, will spawn whenever we activate the 115 generators around Origins. They will rise out of blue teleporter holes from the ground, or we can actually also see them in the crazy place, but they'll spawn to attack the generators. Why exactly they'd want to attack the 115 generators, we're not sure. Of course, they were built by Group 935, and 935 also resurrected these dead knights, so maybe it has something to do with wanting to get back at them or stop Group 935. Since the generators use Element 115 and that's what they were resurrected with, maybe that has something to do with it. I really don't know. I just think the reason for them to attack these generators is so the Templar Knights can stop Group 935. We know that once all of the generators are activated, we can finally get to the Pack-a-Punch, but we're not really given a proper reason why. The next question I've actually seen quite a few times, but Kyle Herrera says, BOA, I have a question about 9. Do you think it will be a melee weapons only map? I've seen a lot of people ask this. In fact, my friend, when the trailer came out, said, why are they doing a weapons only map? Simply because in the trailer, obviously it's a gladiator arena. We don't see any guns in the trailer, just melee weapons. And also, since it's in a gladiator arena, it would make sense to have only melee weapons. But the simple answer, I believe, is no, it's not going to be a melee weapons only map. Just like the other one, Voyage of Despair, we will have guns. The only reason we don't see it in this trailer is because, one, it just wouldn't fit in. It makes sense for these characters to start off in this trailer with melee weapons, not guns. It's a gladiator arena. They're here to fight each other. They didn't have guns during that time, but we knew that once this artifact was activated in IX, then it turns people into the mystery box. So the mystery box will be on this map. We just didn't see it in the trailer because it wouldn't fit in. But no, I've seen so many people asking me this, and that's probably one of the reasons why there were quite a few dislikes on this trailer, because people thought it was melee weapons only. But no. The next question says, why is the transit bus in Newtown? So at the end of round 5 on Newtown, you can actually hear the horn of the transit bus.
Kaboom.
It beeps just like it does in Transit. However, in Newtown, it is nowhere to be seen. We can hear it this once and that's it. And by the sounds of it, it's pretty close. But if you look all around Newtown, this map takes place in a desert. We know it is in Nevada. This whole place is destroyed. There is nothing around here, so why can we hear the transit bus? What is it doing? Well, like I've just said, Nuketown takes place in Nevada, but Transit takes place in Hanford, Washington. These two locations are nowhere near each other. We can see just outside of the Newtown map there is an explosion that has gone off. There is this mushroom cloud that has come from a massive explosion, and we know that this was caused by Broken Arrow. Broken Arrow had a facility near Newtown. They were operating here using a massive drill to extract element 115 from the ground. We also know that Rustman was working at this Broken Arrow facility, but eventually, due to too much work, Broken Arrow's drill exploded, causing this nuclear explosion. That is why we see the mushroom cloud in Newtown. But getting back to what I was saying, so we know that Newtown takes place on October the 13th of 2025, whereas Transit takes place over 10 years later in 2035. So there's a whole 10-year gap between Newtown and Transit. Just a few days before Transit, on October the 13th of 2035, that was when Rustman stole the Transit bus from a Broken Arrow facility. After Newtown had taken place, Rustman lost his job at Broken Arrow, he began to wander the earth, and then eventually he stole the Transit bus, and that's when he bumped into Stuhlinger, and a week later arrived at Transit, where he met Martin and Misty. But all of this happened a long time after Newtown takes place. Yet when we play, we can hear the Transit bus. So why? Well, the reason for that is because Rustman lost his job, and so he stole it from the nearby Broken Arrow facility and was driving around on it, but that takes place 10 years after Newtown, so that isn't possible, which means that somebody else must have been driving the Transit bus near Newtown. It can't have been Rustman, it can't have been Martin since he's locked in the bunker, and it won't have been Misty or Stuhlinger, so it could have just been Ted that was driving around. Obviously the world at this point that we're playing Newtown isn't completely destroyed. The rockets only hit after Newtown is finished. In the zombie apocalypse, the infestation of them taking over the world had started but hadn't grown to its full capabilities yet. So just like there are CDC and CIA agents, there could still be loads of survivors and people just going along their normal day on Earth. And the Transit bus during this time could have been a full working bus in order. Ted was driving it, taking people around, driving around Nevada. That could be a possible reason, because it seems like originally Nevada is the place where the Transit bus would have operated, not near Transit. So that more than likely is the reason why we can hear the Transit bus in Newtown. I'm guessing it would have been Ted driving it, he would have operated around here, and it wouldn't have been until almost 10 years later when Rustman, Stuhlinger, Martin and Misty got their hands on it. The next question from Elon 2025-14 says, why does Dr. Monty give weapons and power-ups to the characters from Shadows of Evil? So he's done this for many other characters besides from our main ones, the 5 crew, the Call of the Dead characters. Dr. Monty doesn't just give perks and weapons to our normal characters. And the reason for this, I'm guessing, is because everyone has a part to play in the main storyline. Without the Shadows of Evil crew, if they weren't to survive, then Richthofen wouldn't have been able to get his hands on the summoning key, and without that, it means he can't do what he needs to. That may end up meaning he dies, he doesn't survive, and so every character that isn't Richthofen, Takio, Nikolai and Dempsey is crucial to the survival of our main characters. Without them, Richthofen wouldn't have the summoning key. Without the Call of the Dead characters, Richthofen wouldn't have had the golden rod. So the reason why Dr. Monty helps out these other characters is because they do have something to do with the Ultimus or Primus characters. In order for them to survive, these other characters must survive as well. And so Dr. Monty helps them out to keep them alive. The next question from King Enigma says, BOA, in Black Ops 2 buried for the Dr. Maxis Easter egg, in the comics we can see that Richthofen leaves the zombie Richthofen in another dimension. So yes, we do know after buried, if you've read the comics then you'll already know this, but a zombified version of Richthofen was told by another version of Richthofen to follow the Transit crew to the empty earth while they collect the Chronorium. Zombie Richthofen's job was to basically keep the Transit crew moving and also to collect the blood vials when they get there. So that's exactly what they did. We know that the Transit crew went to the empty earth, they collected the Chronorium, and then they escaped. Meanwhile, the zombified Richthofen collected their blood vials, and then the other version of Richthofen met up with him, I know it's really complicated, and collected the blood vials from zombie Richthofen. He then left the empty earth and went back to his lab. However, as we see in the comics, he leaves zombie Richthofen in the empty earth. He doesn't take him with him. Even though zombie Richthofen has been helping the other version of Richthofen out, he leaves him in the empty earth to die, because we know eventually the empty earth will just cave in on itself. It is a collapsing universe, meaning everyone in it, including zombie Richthofen, would eventually die. So what you're asking is, well, why did Richthofen leave his other zombified self there? Why couldn't he have taken him with him. I mean, yes, even though he was helpful, I can't see any reason as to why he would have wanted to take him. At the end of the day, he was still a zombie, and Richthofen's trying to rid the earth of the zombies. He's trying to get rid of them and fix everything. And also, taking a different version of himself could have messed up the timeline. So I don't really know the reason, but make of that what you will. Anyway, guys, there we go. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed. You guys are absolutely freaking awesome. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.